Can you hear me now?
Yeah, man. How are you?
I'm all right.
Can you hear me?
Uh, yep, I can hear you now.
Fantastic. All right, man. Well, so Life Unraveled episode, resident political scientist Chris Housenick in the house.
Is this light more unraveled?
Dude, right. Right. Talk about life literally getting unraveled right now. Yeah, well, how's everything going for you, man? How are you enjoying the quarantine?
It's going well. It's weird, strange. Trying to get used to the new normal is the way I kind of look at it. Like I went to the small mart today, and I'm wearing a mask in the store. They're counting the number of people in, they're counting the number of people out, stuff like that.
Dude, I wish I could get a mask to wear to the store. I'm out right now.
We have some of a local friend who sewed some.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to hit up like a reusable. We had some ones that you just throw them away after or whatever, but
yeah,
they are all used up. But so, well, what do you make of all of this anyway, man? I mean, what's your assessment of what do you think things are going to be like for us moving forward on the, on the political level?
2020 is going to be a weird year. There's no other way to really put it. It's what it's going to look like afterward, which is going to be, I don't really have a prediction or a guess yet, but that's going to be a huge part of the story. You're going to see just different discussion. How many bailouts will we need, for instance?
Yeah, like education, housing market, maybe. Like what all do you see being most impacted? A lot of people are talking about the restaurant industry.
Oh, I think it's all, restaurant industry. I could certainly see. Airline industry's already got some. I'm trying to think. Hotel industry. Basically, I was reading in the Courier, Russellville hotels have actually been okay because most of them were stuck with outage people. They already had people there who couldn't go anywhere, so they had pretty full rooms. But once outage is over and those people scatter again, they're going to be starting closing those locations down.
I know. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, we're fine. We're not worried about it. We got outage." But that will be coming to an end soon.
Yeah, apparently. I haven't run into Micah to ask how it's going and get an eye roll or a glare.
Apparently, it's good. I saw Dwayne the other day at the store from the gym, and he said that like it's coming up on the end, like it's just right around the corner.
Yeah, but it's getting used to the new normal, having to help. I'm teaching 5 political science classes. I'm teaching 6th grade. I'm doing a little bit of third grade here and there.
Just see how it feels.
It's honestly though, it's not bad. I'm lucky enough that my kids have been pretty bright. They can figure it out. It's something weird that comes along. We've been doing it now for 3 solid weeks. This is week 4. I think we had our first real hard question that I had to Google or think about late last week.
What subject was it in?
Band.
Oh,
yes.
You just hit Nile up, man.
Oh, I know. I'm friends with Sean Reed. He's a trombone professor at Tech. But it was one of those things like I can remember this myself. Basically, it's reading sheet music.
Yeah,
was what they were getting into.
Were you in band?
I was, but that was the joke between my wife and I. It's like I had this literally 25 or 30 years ago. And it's bouncing around. Like they show they're starting to get into sharps and flats and reading sheet music. And it was like, okay, wait a minute. I remembered half of it. So here's the flat. That means those notes. But it took me about an hour or so for it to kick that. Oh yeah. A sharps are B flats.
Yeah. That is one of the first things I remember learning on the guitar.
Well, guitar doesn't really count because you're playing a single note. You can bend anything to the right key.
Jimmy Herring, man, that dude bends it.
But no, everything's going fairly well. It's just getting into routines, getting work done, teaching my classes online and stuff like that. For Arkansas Tech, it's been some work, but it's coming together and it's going fairly well.
Yeah, I'm finally getting in a good groove. It's hard to do it for all the classes all at once on this short of notice. If I was just like doing even just 2 classes, but I teach 3 different sections, and it's making it more difficult for sure.
Oh, it's one of the big things that I've struggled with is the volume of emails. When you teach face to face, you might get one student email, you can announce it in class, help everybody out. But when everybody goes online, like we had a day, there was one Friday morning, it was the Friday right after spring break. I think I got 40, 45, 50 emails.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I shut down and said like, all right, I'm done for today. I'll sort this out over the weekend.
Man, I got over 30 one day. Is kind of the volume I was dealing with, but it was not fun.
Oh no. It's just certain systems and certain things need to be done. But what happens, like we have to report student athlete grades, and the athletics office generates an individual email for each student athlete. I think I've got more than usual, so I just got a dozen requests for them all, first thing Friday morning. And then you get your online teaching and learning emails and this meetings notes and stuff like that. It was a lot, a lot at once. But again, I sort of wake up and most of my work is in the mornings. Get up, get through the emails, get anything posted, because I know it seems like my traffic, my internet connection, I know is better during the mornings. There's fewer people online. There's less Blackboard traffic. My kids don't get up till about 8:30 or so I don't got to fight with cell phones or other Wi-Fi, things like that. So that's when I can just get a lot done. If I have a really good day, I can still get work done till 2 or 3. If I'm having a slower day, once I get to noon or 1, I got to take a break for a while. But I come back in, like I'll do some grading in the evenings, drop in an hour here. And I've always worked kind of like that, a little here, a little there. Doing stuff over the weekends is commonplace for me too.
Yeah, I know, man. Like I just work every day. I still get up at the same time. That's one thing I've been able to hold on to. I mean, there's been a few days I slept in till like 5:30 or 6, but for the most part, I'm still getting up at 4. I got up at 4 yesterday and went and exercised with a guy that I work with, and I've just been trying to get as much exercise and productivity in as I can, man. It's really, for me, it's not been bad. It's been almost an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, well, I think education's got it easier than some other industries.
For now.
For now. Much of the younger professors have taught something online. They're familiar with the tools. So making the change wasn't, a complete and total shock. I've don't know for sure, but when we talked about this, me and my professor friends, there's some departments who I think they would just be absolutely like struggling and trying to figure out how to pull this off. Especially like sciences or mathematics. Imagine trying to teach calculus like remotely.
Oh, or this science labs.
Oh yeah, take something outside, drop it. Physics Lab 101.
Yeah, or a drone class. That was another one that
I can see
somebody from the gym was in. But yeah, the distance classes do not work as a universal model. There's some things you can offer as a distance class.
Well, I think some of them, Edward from the gym, he is an engineering major, and he's talked about some of his like math and science. They do have homework and stuff they do from Blackboard, but he is a junior, I think. There's a pretty steep learning curve. And I've always had the impression there's a couple of professors whose job it is to specialize in that sort of thing. They help, whereas you might have, 10 mathematics professors, you've got 3 who take the time, learn the curve, they'll do the online stuff, and you got 7 who are face-to-face. You suddenly have no choice, but everybody's got to be an online professor and learn the programs and stuff like that.
Even the ones that are retiring this year.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild, isn't it? To think about some professor that's like, it's their last year. They're on their way out, and this is the conversion they have to make on their exit.
Yeah. But it's, it's weird. It's strange talking politics. I think in the last week I've started getting out of, the Rona politics alone. You finally got a Democratic nominee. Tomorrow's a big day for casinos in Arkansas, apparently.
Let's talk about each one of those topics. Did I see something about Biden champion for student loan forgiveness all of a sudden? And Bernie has endorsed Biden, as many people speculated he would.
Oh, yes.
Party line, quite literally.
Yep.
How old is Joe Biden? Someone was speculating earlier, and I haven't had a chance to look it up. Is he 77 years old?
He's in that ballpark, 77 or 78. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think he has any sort of dementia? Joe Rogan is convinced.
I don't know if I would go that far, but it's, we know a lot of, frankly, a lot of 70-year-olds. And some are really sharp. But part of this is you're speculating, what's this person going to be like in 4 more years? Because, whoever wins in November, they're both in their late 70s, and they're both will be in their early 80s when their term ends in 2024.
When what, Trump is 72, 73?
I think he's a little old. I think he was 72 or 73 when he was elected. I think he's just a hint younger than Biden.
Look up. Yeah, I knew he was younger. Let's see. How old is Donald Trump?
Yeah, but this is we're having this. Who's younger, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
He's 73. He's 73.
Okay.
Bernie's 78. Biden's 77. Bloomberg was 78. Let's see. Melania is 49.
Okay.
Elizabeth Warren was 70.
Mm-hmm.
Don Jr. is 42. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a weird, politics are going to change. The economy is going to change. How it's going to change is going to be really fascinating to watch, and be part of in the aftermath. Like one of the things they're debating is how do we reopen the economies now?
Yeah. How do you think Trump is dealing with that?
My impression is Trump doesn't really matter. Your governor matters. You're going to learn a lot more and take your cues from, say, Governor Hutchinson than the national scale especially from Arkansas's point of view.
Well, up from where, maybe not as close to your neck of the woods, but I saw where Pennsylvania and New Jersey were talking about reopening a unified regional plan to reopen their economies. I feel like Hutchinson's pretty lax on how he's handling everything. Honestly, do you think that means that we'll be one of the first to open? Because I haven't heard him start to talk about that.
I don't really know, and I think I gotta say, he hasn't had the formal power, but he's played it very smart. I think he's done more behind the scenes, because I think one of the things that I was very worried about when all this started going down, and I was even talking to Brett and Justin about this in one of the last daytime classes, as this was starting to spread, I was worried about churches. People in these kind of environments and these kind of crises will flock together. They want those reassurances. But when you look at places like Florida and Louisiana in particular,
beaches, yeah.
But they're mega churches. They're packing in 2,000 people.
It's not a good idea.
No, it's a very bad idea. But the governor has done a lot to keep we just got through Easter Sunday. The churches stayed closed. Everybody's still doing worshiping from a distance. I think it's going to I'm taking more of an account from him. And honestly, you got to watch. The trouble is, like, I think the original idea is smart. It's not you alone. It's everybody around you. I've been like for Texas, Texas is slow behind the curve. There's so many people. If people from Texas start spreading infections coming into Arkansas because it's open, that could bring the disease back. Was it Shreveport, Louisiana's had it really bad, which isn't too far from, Texarkana, stuff like that. It's those individual states could make problems for everybody else. And Florida's a good example of that too. Everything open, having an election, the whole 9 yards, has certainly made things a lot more challenging. So I'm much more paying attention to what Governor Hutchinson says in the federal response. Certain states, your Texas, Florida, New York, California, there are such powerful drivers of the economy. They matter from a Washington, D.C. perspective. But Arkansas's done a lot right as far as this crisis goes.
Do you think that this time is posing any sort of a serious threat to like our process? I mean, like all the voting that is and should be, and it still is going on, but people congregating together at the polls seems to be a serious concern for a lot of folks. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's that's the only good thing about Biden got enough of a lead. Sanders saw the light, dropped out. So at least the primary voting, you're going to start getting, like, Wisconsin voted in the middle of this craziness. Mm-hmm. And it was ridiculous to see, people showing up in masks. And there was the leader of the Wisconsin GOP party. He's telling everybody it's safe to vote. And he's standing there in a hospital mask, gown, gloves, not exactly the vote of confidence you want to see out of someone.
Fine.
Yes. I always think, have you ever seen Animal House?
It's been a long time. That's one I need to go back, take another pass at. I haven't seen that since probably like when I was getting out of high school. I
think Kevin Bacon's got this little flash bit in it. It's near the end. They're having the chaos and the riot at the parade, and Kevin Bacon's on the street trying to calm everybody. He's like, everything's fine, everything's well. And then he gets run over by the marching band. But that's all I can think of when I see that sort of thing. I think what's going to happen is states should be ready for, people can apply to vote absentee. They always have been able to. If you were a student at, say, out in Jonesboro, you could apply to vote, up in Clarksville where you grew up. That was always an option. I think a lot of people, like if I'm in Russellville, I might apply to vote absentee in Russellville. I think you're going to especially see that in larger metropolitan areas, New York City, Los Angeles, places like that. I think you'll see an overwhelming amount of absentee ballots set in just because, the coronavirus question is going to be around for basically all of 2020. When you start talking about, reinfection curves and stuff like that, this is not going to, it should probably be looking a little bit better when we get into May, but it's still going to be a lingering question or thought for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I wonder, when they are going to start allowing some of the businesses that, like ourselves, for example, to begin reopening. Because the initial projection was April 17th, but they came back and announced that would not be the case. So we are just in limbo, man.
Oh, yeah. I think and here's what's going to be weird about it. This is my speculation or my thoughts. I could be wrong. What's going to be weird is that when they start reopening things, it's going to be gradual. So think about your business. Right now, you're not allowed to have a gathering of more than 10 people. What if the first week back they say you're only allowed to have gatherings of 20 people? Okay, so you could probably either have noon kickboxing or noon jiu-jitsu. You could have noon yoga. Maybe one of your evening classes.
Most of my personal evening adult classes could go. It would be easy for us to limit fitness kickboxing, but the kids' classes,
forget it. Yeah.
5 to 7s and 8 to 12s and even teens would be very difficult to mitigate because we don't want to turn people away. But we could come up with a short-term solution for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we're going to do a Zoom group offer, you know, because like we could do, I've thought about this. Like if something like that happens, we could do a Zoom class alongside a real live class. Like imagine if that's like we're talking about changes for like higher education. Imagine if that's one of the changes for martial arts gyms is that they begin offering more because I mean, you know, Brent and Seth, that's how they got hooked up with Brandon McCatherine. They were in Germany and they were doing distance classes that he would just like a software, like Zoom them into a class.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's going to be something, if like, are people going to expect us to do this after the fact?
Well, you've always had an internet presence, but I think here's what's weird. Like, you know, you and Cora have always been consistent. You adjust and change your schedule basically 3 times a year. Fall semester, spring semester, and summer. You, with gradual reopening, you might have to adjust your schedule every week or 2. You know, suddenly allowing more and more, you know, you may be fully reopened, do what you want, say June 1st, but you may have 4 different schedules in May that work. Some Zoom, you know, with their gradual reopening, that's where it's going to be. I think business owners are going to really have to work and think, you know, think hard and responsibly about how to reopen, what's a smart way, that sort of thing.
And like, you know, we were 1 week away from starting the new schedule, so that's something we're going to have to, you know, roll with. It's like, because we were on our older schedule, which accommodated for, you know, less space and less time. This new schedule, new building that we're wanting to start, we'll have to taper into that somehow for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tricky no matter what the situation is, you know. And it's just part of this that's been difficult is that other stuff has been sort of pushed to the side. Danielle cracked a tooth.
Oh, I've been a friend of mine has a serious dental problem right now, and they did get in to see somebody.
So did she. She went in. They looked at it fast. She went back and got a root canal. She's doing so much better now, but it was still, you know, something she could have gotten taken care of. It could have been easier, but
alarming.
Yeah, you know, I sort of laugh, you know, me and the kids, we're not doing a whole lot. We're kind of laying low because you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to wind up at an ER for something normal if you could possibly avoid it, just because there's so much else going on out there, you know. But yeah, there's going to be, higher education is going to need funding and bailouts. I'm trying to think of more specific industries. No, I think some will bounce back pretty quickly. You know, I know some stylists, some photographers who I think once everything clears, even a small clearance of all this lockdown stuff, you know, people are going to need haircuts. People are going to need, you know, family photos, stuff like that. They may bounce back pretty quick.
Bro,
but
I got headshots made yesterday. What are you talking about?
I saw those. You know, I also recognize the building in the background.
I know Danielle was texting, giving me shit while I was out there. She's like, "Who's in my hood?"
Yeah. But that's the weird thing about this. You notice there's some like weird, subtle things that you're just not used to seeing, and it's kind of weird when you see it. Like going downtown and noticing like there's so many parking spaces.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's one thing. As soon as I walked up to China yesterday to start taking pictures, she's like, "It's a ghost town around here."
Yeah. because a lot of the places are they're doing delivery, or I had to buy Page. I went to Cooper Music across from Kroger. I had to buy Page clarinet reeds, and we basically bought and sold them on the steps. So it's like, one car in and out, things like that.
The pharmacies. Have you seen? Oh, and I don't know if all of them, but like C&D downtown, they're like, do not come in here. We will bring everything out. We do this way now.
Oh yeah. Hell, food places. We go out we try and order out like for lunches, me and the girls, once a week, just for some variety. But yeah, it's all curbside service now, stuff like that. So it's just kind of strange to have to deal with those kind of changes. Try to figure out what day of the week it is. That's another popular.
Oh yeah, dude. Today I was like, looked at Core and I said, it's Wednesday. It's Tuesday. It just all runs together. I've been trying to do a few things. Like I've been trying to have structured, every day, regardless of the weekend, structured stuff to do for my classes, structured stuff to do for the gym, structured stuff to do for exercise, and structured stuff to do for the podcast.
Yeah, I think Easter helped because this is a Sunday thing. Yeah, I got some thrown in there. Like I know we play online now, but my D&D group gets together every Friday night now. So I know when the end of the week is.
Are you Zooming or what?
There is a service called Discord that was set up. A lot of people use it. There's an app you can load into it. It does all your dice rolls. You can load characters, stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
A lot of people already played online, but basically what happened is you got this surge of, now everybody's playing online. But that helps. That's honestly, that game session's a lot of my social interaction every week, where it's like, wait, there's other people. I have heard another voice besides Danielle and my kids.
It is nice, man. When I'm around people, I'm like thanking them for being around them. I'm like, thank you. It's so great. Like when I see somebody, I'm like, it's great to see you. Oh my God.
We had a hangout session on Friday night in my driveway. We maintained social distance, but Emily from Dog Year Books came over. It's 11 o'clock at night. We're sitting in the driveway. We've got our social distance. We're hanging out. We're having a beer, but it's like, oh my God, another voice, another human being. So yeah, that's something I know I sorely miss. We have group chats and stuff like that, and I'm texting people here and there, but it's still not the same.
Yeah, I know, man. It is wild, all the changes, and too, to just like the uncertainty on when any of it is going to subside.
Yeah, I think that is the hardest part for some people. I can think of somebody who might be really well suited to talk about that if you want. Dean Plank from it.
Yeah, I've chatted with him a little bit about it.
The reason is, at least when I was in, one of the hardest courses to pass was Special Forces training in the Army. And part of it was they would do physical challenges where they wouldn't tell you exactly when it was over. Like imagine you're going to go on a march, you're going to carry this litter. It will be at least 8 miles. And that's all you know. It might be 9, it might be 10, it might be 15 miles. But that's what they were kind of looking for. They wanted people who would just go until the job was done right, not when, because a lot of people, myself included, you could train for a certain goal, a certain deadline. If I say I got to be able to run 2 miles or run 5 miles or, run a 10K, it's pretty easy to train somebody to do that. But when you say you're just going to run until you get to a goal, that's a lot harder. And that's what a lot of this is. We need to get to a goal where the numbers are going down, the testing is good, no new infections or breakouts or house parties. that's another popular one in Russellville that people lost their damn minds over.
Oh
But
man, did that make any sort of national news?
I don't think so, because the more I've, when I read that, I was talking to my mother in Pennsylvania about it. Every place has that kind of story. Somebody somewhere has decided to defy, ignore the social distancing rules. My mother is in Reading, Pennsylvania. They were playing like outdoor rec basketball leagues up until maybe 2 weeks ago. Now, those weren't huge numbers and it was outside, but it's still, you're bringing together 20, 25, 30 people. That's not a smart idea. But, you're hearing more and more of this, Florida holding all of spring break effectively.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, did you hear about the church in Heber here in Arkansas, Cleburne County?
Is that the one up near Jonesboro?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
The whole congregation is like 28 members. That's getting in nursing homes. That's another chief concern.
Well, I think Arkansas actually had a good weekend, except it hit 2 prisons, 2 jail systems.
I heard Tiger Joe Exotic had to get quarantined because of this. Poor guy.
Oh yes. Have you watched Tiger King?
Yes, I didn't watch all the episodes. I chimed in on the middle. Like I woke up, Cora had watched a few episodes like one night when I was falling asleep. And then also like I saw one and then I took a nap. She watched some more. She binge watched it, man. But I saw several of them. Yeah,
we watched the whole insane the whole insane story, whatever you want to call it. I joked, Tiger King is like long form Jerry Springer.
Oh yeah, that's the metaphor I've used. Like before Jerry Springer got super duper scripted. Is that show still on TV?
Oh no, I think he's been off for a while. But the early Jerry Springer was, you could have cast everybody from Tiger King in some point in some way, whether it's going to be Joe Exotic or his husbands or the weird dude from South Carolina and his multiple wives. Or
dude, I'm gonna text you. Got your phone handy?
Yeah,
I'm gonna text you some. I texted Colby this earlier and he's still losing it about how funny he thinks it is. Let's see what you think about it. But it's a Tiger King meme. But Colby and I rolled last night, right? So and Cora, I rolled around with Cora, but I texted him this morning. I said, "This is us last night." Did you get it?
I don't know if I've gotten it yet.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure it'll come to you in a second. Okay, it's still sending out.
Okay.
But super funny, man. Like that guy is such a personality. Did you see him asking Trump about him at the press conference for coronavirus the other day?
Oh yeah. It's such a it's a train wreck. You're like trying to cover your eyes, but you can't look away.
Man. And then yesterday somebody was like, why did you retweet that something that said Dr. Fauci should be fired? And he's like, it was just someone's opinion. I don't think that. We're friends. I like him. like he just like saying all of this random Trump shit. I was just like,
yeah,
man.
That's part of why I don't watch a lot of news right now. I read headlines and that's it. Oh God.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I did.
Isn't that funny, man?
Yeah. Me
and the boys, our first day back on the mats. Look at the dude down by his knee.
Oh yeah. It puts Nogi in a whole new light. But yeah, that's the I realize everybody's operating at less than ideal sanity right now. Whether you know it or not, whether you recognize it or not, nobody's 100%. And just sort of from my perspective, I know I have limited resources of sanity to deal with. And watching a national news conference doesn't help me. I don't learn anything from it. I can read it so much faster and more efficiently. So I don't watch the telecasts
Dude,
just
I just hit McMillan up and asked him what's happening.
yeah.
He
I
always
haven't texted him for a while, but Danielle's talked to him a few times. She's been while I've been home, she's been busting her ass around town, keeping on.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's great.
Keeping the first responders fed. So she crosses paths with McMillan every once in a while.
Yeah, he was exposed to somebody that had it, that tested positive. Like, so I assume he's in quarantine. He said he couldn't.
Yeah, it's
hang out.
Oh yeah, that's why a lot of the fire, some of the fire companies, EMTs like Tory. They get called.
The new guys, Micah and Cody from the gym, same for them.
Yeah, so it's been, they don't get to lay low. Let's put it that way. So, but yeah, I keep the home fires burning. I do a lot of cooking. How do you pass your time?
Man, it's been going well, honestly. Like, I go to the gym every day and do something. I've trained with Roland a few times. I'm training with him tonight. We just wear a mask. I've been doing tons of podcasts. I got a bunch of awesome episodes scheduled. Here's hold on, I'll tell you some I've got scheduled that are confirmed.
Did you get Jack Taufer in?
Yeah, Jack and I already podcasted. So cool. Jack and Dring, Mike, Jack and Dring, and myself have all done a podcast.
Cool.
Then ours, I'm doing Matt Blank, and then a technical director of a high school program. Like he does like all of their everything you could imagine for any of the productions that get put on the plays and stuff. Cool. It's gonna be this dude is a genius, and he's a musician. He's gonna be on tomorrow. But man, the skill it takes to be a technical director, you have to do lights, sound, cues. I mean, it just so much goes into it. Sets, props, design. So that's what that dude's going to talk about. Chris Thompson's going to be on.
Cool.
I got Josh Irwin. He's one of Nate's students. He's the guy, you may have seen him. He does like a fan-based like Star Trek show. Have you seen this guy, Josh Irwin?
I don't think so.
He's wild, dude. I mean, he does film for a living. So
nice.
He's coming on. Carlino's coming on. Woods is coming on.
Yeah. Oh man.
Fern. So I've got a bunch scheduled, and I've reached out to a bunch of people that I'm trying to get scheduled for next week. So I've got a bunch of stuff going to start trickling out.
Cool. But yeah, we once we get home, we just relax. Lots of games, lots of puzzles.
Cora's been doing a puzzle and a coloring book.
I don't know if Danielle's broken out the coloring book yet. But the girls are artistic. They color as well. But we found Barnes and Noble still had some good puzzles, reasonable sized piece count puzzles.
Cora's doing our third widespread panic puzzle.
Yeah. Are those 1,000 pieces each?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we talk about. Like I went on, you could find Barnes and Noble had a good number of puzzles, but there was like, oh, here's 2,000 pieces. It's like, no, thanks, but no thanks. That would drive me nuts.
Well, that guy just mentioned, the technical director, Dan Stahl, put together a 10,000 piece puzzle, dude. I'm just like, who does that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but probably spend much more time on YouTube than usual.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
There's so many things that I would want to be doing. Like I've been hiking a lot. I've been going out and taking walks, walking my dogs. I've got a couple of floats planned. Just things that I wouldn't normally do because I'm always working, dude, at the gym or at the university.
I think that's one thing I've noticed. There's not a whole lot of spontaneity. I sort of schedule out, plan out, what do I got to do? Like when I went to the grocery store, I knew I was going today. I got home, I dropped the bags, the girls put it away. I hit the shower fast. But it's like, if I want to do something, I got to start planning like today for 3 days from now. just little quick stuff like that just isn't really an option with everything going on and stuff. And making, like you said, like long-term plans. I know what I'm doing in April. I'm sitting in, this home office in this house for a few more weeks, and hopefully as May rolls in, we'll be able to get out more. But this is sort of the strange new normal.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. Man, I'm just gonna keep refining, like with what I'm doing for my online classes and the podcast, because I'm gonna be moving into the new studio here in a few days.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you would be. I know your internet is probably better at the gym than it is at your house. You're not that far in the sticks, but you're just far enough.
It is, and I'm going to see if I can upgrade it a little bit. I really don't have a problem here at the house, so to speak. I could do better if I would plug into a cable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm going to do at the new spot. I'm going to get my own router and modem in the studio.
Yeah.
Just to bolster up my connection and stuff.
That'll do it. Everything that's part of it. I haven't zoomed in with like classes and stuff because I have a desktop. It's in my home office, and I have about 6 square feet of floor space combined. And like my kid's computer is behind me.
Is that little nook like before your kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right there on the corner. And that's been my project. I'm slowly cleaning up stuff.
Cora and I have been getting a lot done on just little projects too.
We've been here almost 11 years now, and this is the longest we've ever had one house in one place, and we just have too much crap.
Man, I was right over in your neck of the woods the other morning when I went to work out with that guy. I forgot Norristown. I turned on Turrentine.
Okay.
I turned on Norristown. It's like boom, boom.
You were maybe a quarter mile.
Yeah, that's Nate's mom lives like right over in that. It's just like, It's like right past you, but I was in the neighborhood.
So I've spent, a couple of weeks. My front closet is cleaned out for the first time in a decade, probably. I'm slowly working through the office, but it's just those little things. Part of it is, you fill, our 55-gallon trash cans or whatever they are, you fill it up. It's like, okay, we're done for the week. And so, but just little stuff like that to keep things going and keep yourself sane, and then throw in, helping the kids with schoolwork and stuff like that for the first couple of weeks, although that is highly slowed down now.
We're getting close, like 3 more weeks, and the semester will be to an end.
Yeah. That's part of what I was spending a lot of this weekend was sort of game planning out what's the end of the semester going to look like. Like one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to start for my American government classes. Their final exams are going to go online starting next Monday already.
I'm putting my people's online where it's like it closes the day that it was normally due. That's what I did, but I'm opening up like 10 days early. Yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised. So I had a test done that was due yesterday by midnight. And I sent out my reminders saying, hey, finish it up. And I had like between 8 and 13 students, depending. I do my test in pieces because I don't trust Blackboard to always work. But I was like, I got between 8 and 13 students who hadn't completed assignments. But when I went in this morning, everybody completed everything. So there's kind of it was really bizarre and refreshing that students procrastinated and they got their work done just like normal students would. Because, you're sort of worrying like, oh, wow, these students completely vanished, didn't do anything. What happened to them? No, they were just normal. They waited to the last minute. So there's something refreshing about that kind of normalcy.
For real.
But it's part of it's, I think if I could put their assignments up and say, here's what you got to do, finish up the class at whatever your pace is, because we don't know where people are or what are they dealing with. When you say, hey, you've got 4 weeks to complete all these assignments, great, awesome.
Are you teaching any summer classes?
I'm teaching probably one. Right before I logged in, I was looking at that. I was planning to teach 2 classes, American Government Online, and I was going to teach a philosophy of warfare class.
Ooh, that sounds cool, dude.
Yeah, we experiment a lot in summer classes. We have a pretty consistent amount of students who show up to take American government every summer. And Dr. Mike Rogers, he will teach American state and local government for like teachers, education majors. Those classes will have enough students like clockwork. Finding other offerings that make is usually kind of tricky. But I was doing an independent study for a student this semester in it. We started, trying to think, we read Clausewitz was the first book. You know, we're reading Karl von Clausewitz, he's one of the big philosophical Western warfare thinkers. Read him, and how much of it applies today was a lot of it. Then I'm trying to think, we bounced around. We read some of the counterinsurgency people. This is where Woods is really good. A guy by the name of John Nagel's got a great book just for the title, Learning to Eat Soup with a Knife. But he's but he's writing about U.S. counterinsurgency efforts in Vietnam, and it's about military's got to learn faster and things of that nature. I think the last thing we got into, I found a history book, but I was having him read some of the ideas and thinkers of like nuclear weapons philosophy in the 1950s. Because a lot of those, when you think about it today, a lot of it was idiotic. But it's, it's like what, it's one of those, it's a great, what were they thinking sort of moments. And a lot of it's actually all in the Eisenhower years, discussing, things like, massive retaliation. If anybody in any way does anything to attack the U.S., that we will launch a full-scale nuclear war against them. It wasn't a very long-lived policy, but it was a policy, and it was, just one of those. It was interesting to try and figure out, and I wanted to discuss it. Thomas Schelling is the name I was trying to think of. He was one of these big thinkers. But, sort of seeing his take on it, what was he thinking? Because, he was part of this discussion for 30 or 40 years. And he's interesting because you can see he changes his mind over time. This massive retaliation idea, one Russian tank shoots across the East German, West German border and we nuke everybody and end civilization. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but he's still making part of the decision discussions in like the 70s and 80s. So, but I think for just a number of students, I don't know that that's going to fly at this point, but that's always a challenge for summer. Finding something that people would want to take, able to take, and finding 10 students. That's always, there's a numbers game involved.
Yeah.
Then we got, starting to think about fall semester and what comes next. So, but I'm just trying to get through spring semester semi-sane.
Yeah, same. And man, I'm just going to take the rest of the semester and in the summer and really tighten my web classes down. And I hope in the following spring semester, I can go to where I'm teaching 3 or 4 online classes.
Yeah. We have found that people want flexibility. That's a big part of it. In my online American government, I don't do very many midterm grades anymore, because they're only for freshmen and sophomores. And I do like an introductory assignment, welcome to the class, introduce yourself in Blackboard and stuff like that. And there's a lot of, I'm a nursing major and I'm doing my practicals or my field stuff this semester. I'm student teaching, so I'm away. There's a lot of students who are in that environment, and I can expect, I would suspect where you're at too, this is the case. You're going to have somebody working full time. They want to go back, they want to get educated, but, stopping their day and getting to a classroom from, 9 to 9:50 Monday, Wednesday, Friday just might not be in the cards. We still will have a demand for face-to-face. But I think it'll be interesting to see how much more of an online presence we have going forward too.
One thing our school is clinging to, which makes zero sense to myself and a lot of other people, but is they're trying to do the synchronous model, is what they're calling it, to where the summer classes they are offering, the professors, and this may just be with certain professors, and it may not be something, but to my knowledge, they're trying to push this moving forward to where you offer the course through like Blackboard Collaborate, where you are there in the classroom lecturing, and the students log in like they're there, but they have to do it at the time the class would normally meet. That's how they've been doing these hybrid classes where they're like partially online, but like some of the professors will offer that to where it's like, oh, you can't make it, fine, I'm still here, I still offer the face-to-face. So they've been doing that and experimenting with it, but they're trying to push that model moving forward in response to this. But man, it's like I could do synchronous right here at the house.
Yeah.
I don't need to drive 30 minutes to do that.
When this is all over, the guy to talk about that, you've had him on, have Sean Huss on again.
Yeah, good idea.
He is teaching statistics for behavioral sciences. And I know at least once a week he is doing something like that. Because, I mean, when you talk about what classes you want to teach, teaching statistics is tough. I've done it. I did it maybe 3 or 4 times in my early years. But that is a hard class to get students to like, engage with, and learn. He's done that. I think a lot of it, he does it later in the week for like questions. You know, he sort of says, look, read this, and then we're going to have this classroom session. I think he might be using Discord. Because here's the funny thing. I know a lot of professor nerds have used, yes, it's designed for role-playing games, but you can have a audio chat with up to 90 people on it.
Wow,
So you can have the discussion. You can have people chime in. So he has had to deal with that. And the thing is, I think for what you and I teach, I don't know that we need, that synchronous approach. But I think I could
some people will.
Some classes, I think, certainly could. If there's something technical like a statistics class or a math class, I could certainly see it being very useful. But this is going to be a really strange and experimental coming year after all of this. Whether it's synchronous, asynchronous, things like that, as to what's moving forward. But
interesting times, man.
Oh yeah. And yeah, all the parents will love the AMI packets. That's been a whole new part of this. That's the alternative method of instruction all the schools use for
for
passing
end of the year.
Yeah, just to limp it across the finish line. But they're figuring it out too on the fly. As I said, AMI was designed for, I'm going to be snowed out a day, 2 days, something like that.
I don't want to make it up at the end of the year type situation, right?
Exactly. And honestly, Russellville didn't adopt AMI for a long time because of size. I think Dardanelle had it, Pottsville, but those are generally smaller school districts. Page's packet for the week after spring break was like 55 pages long. Yeah, exactly. I mean, now that's a great thing. They email it to you. A couple of her professors had major parts of it set up electronically. So, I mean, I think we only had to scan and send back maybe a dozen pages, but still they're figuring out how to use that. They've really dialed in pretty quickly of what they got to do and how to do it.
Dude, imagine grading 55 pages for all your students.
That's been one of the hardest things about switching to all online is sitting down and grinding through grading. When I was on a normal schedule, I had office hours, and those were actually some of I like office hours not for students coming by, because oftentimes they
Getting
don't.
work done, man. Yeah,
But
me
yeah,
too.
when you say I have 4 hours on this day where I'm going to be in this office, you can punch a lot of grading out fast. And like here, as I said, like I'll start cooking dinner at 4:00, and my kitchen and my office are about 30 or 40 feet apart. So I keep running back and forth, but I get some grading done there, but I don't get that good long, several hour span to just really crank a lot of work out. So, yeah, it's the strange new normal.
Indeed it is, man.
But
well, we'll figure it out.
we
Maybe.
always will. Yeah.
Maybe. I hadn't figured anything out really, but
you figured enough out.
I know I'm making it. I didn't think I would make it this far. In terms of the things I'm doing, it's just uncharted waters. So I just roll with it, man. Whatever.
So you building Lego sets? Is that how you're keeping your?
Dude, yeah, I've been playing with my Lego Nagini right here, dude. You see that?
I saw it flipping up in the bottom of the lens a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, we've my sanity. A lot of it's my D&D stuff. Sit down, write group. But I'm reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix with Molly right now.
Nice.
So she's starting to get into Dolores Umbridge's reign of terror.
Oh man, I hate that lady.
Oh, everybody hates that lady, but Molly hated who's the reporter? Her name just slipped my mind.
I don't know.
Yeah, from the previous book. But she's like, oh, wait till it's like you don't want to, no spoilers, but you don't want to get realizing that Umbridge is a lot worse. But I am making progress on Shadows of the Empire, though.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that was a pretty quick listen. I listened to that not too long ago. Maybe me, you, and my buddy John. I talked about doing a podcast over that with him. Maybe the three of us can sit down together or something.
Yeah, I definitely like it. It's got a good chunk of like the hero's journey in it. You're watching Luke Skywalker try and flesh out the skills of being a Jedi Knight. You're watching, like, I think my Kindle says I'm about 40% of the way through.
I've got all the comics if you want to borrow them.
Someday we're allowed to touch one another.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're seeing like Leia, Lando, and Chewie become a team together. One thing I do say I really liked about it is there's a good amount of like the inner workings and backstabbings of the Empire in it. Even that, what is it? The Dark Sun, Prince Zizor.
Yeah, Shizor.
Yeah, Shizor. Cause that's how we say it. That's him versus Vader behind the Emperor's back. Some of the better Star Wars novels have really laid into it that the Empire wasn't one big happy family. I think you saw this. Did you ever read, is it Catalyst?
Yeah, I was about to comment. I'm still working on that one. I'm only a few chapters in.
That gets into it a little bit too. That's the one before Rogue One. Mm-hmm. But it's a scientist trying to get big in the Empire and sort of his social climbing. So that's one thing I've really liked about Shadows of the Empire so far, is that you see kind of these manipulations and schemes against one another, to gain favor here, that sort of thing. But thank God for Kindle. Just download books on the moment.
Yeah, I got a couple of Kindle books recently, so I just need to check them out. A couple of Arkansas history books, actually.
That's good. Have you read Dune yet?
No.
I would put that on your list for this year. It's a sort of a sci-fi classic. It's got these weird combinations. Think like it's almost got a Lawrence of Arabia feel. But it's got the science fiction fantasy. It's from the 1960s. The reason I bring it up is today they started publishing pictures. They're doing a 2-movie sequence of it this year. and it's at least by the looks and the discussions, it may be more fateful and just better technology to make such a movie than there were in previous efforts. Like there was I want to say late 80s, early 90s adaptation. It's got Kyle MacLachlan in it. Sting is in it.
That would be the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah. But his name is Denis Villeneuve. He did, there's a science fiction movie, Looper. He did the latest Blade Runner film. He's got an incredible visual style. So he may be able to do it justice. But they started putting like cast pictures out. And that movie's coming out in November. So fingers crossed it's not going to be affected. So I think that's one thing I do miss about all this weirdness is can't go to the movies.
I know we are extremely limited on what we can do, and going outside is even frowned upon in some places, you know?
Oh yeah. It's, I just miss like movie theater popcorn, you know?
Oh man, I had some popcorn at my dad's over, we went and had lunch with him on Sunday, and it was super tasty. Yeah, well, dude, let's go ahead and wrap it up, man. I appreciate the podcast and I
figured out Zoom. I'm officially
commentary.
I'm hip.
Yeah, well, dude, hopefully I'll see you soon, man. It's been good catching up and chatting with you, and stay safe and healthy, and tell the wife and kids that Cora and I said hello. I
will. You tell Cora and the dogs to hang in there and behave.
I'm about to go scratch the dogs in their spots.
All right. Have a good one, Brian.
You too, man. Take it easy.
You too.